Alright, so in this video we're going to quickly look at how to use the file scripts load into stack in order to put many different files into just one file very quickly. I'm going to go ahead and make a new document. Make this to the size that is required for your assignment. Right now I'm just going to use an 8.5 by 11 RGB because it's for the web, and it's going to be 300 for now. So I'm just going to create. We can always change that later. You should have a few files that you need to put in a Photoshop now. Instead of opening them all individually and copy and pasting them in, which can sometimes take a long time, say I open all of these files, it's going to take a bit, and then I have to select all, Command A, copy, edit, copy, Command C, then I have to go back and find my original document, and I can't find it because I have so many things open. What a pain. So I'm going to go to Window. The very bottom of Window I can see my untitled, that was my 11 by 8.5, and then I'm going to paste. Edit, paste, or Command V. So that took I don't know how long. Instead of doing it that way, I'm going to show you a way to do this in an automated fashion. So we're going to go to File. Alright, so here you can see File, Scripts, Load Files into Stack. I want you to write that down. File, Scripts, Load Files into Stack. It's going to ask me which files do I want to put in this document. If you already have a folder with all your files in them, it makes things a lot easier. That way you don't need to find everything. So I want all of these files in here. I'm going to go ahead and press open, and then I'm going to say OK. What it's doing is it's taking all the different files and it's putting them in layers into this one, oh, it made a new document. So into this new document. So that's nice. That way I don't have to copy and paste everything in. Another way to do it, if you want to have smart object layers, is to do File, Place Embedded, and place each one. You can't place more than one at a time, so again, you're going to have to go through and do them all individually. The nice thing about, having a smart layer, which you can see here, this is different from this layer, or if I paste something in, right, we've got this is pasted in. This has this little icon, this doesn't. This means that this is a smart object layer and that is not. I want to change the size of this, so I'm going to press Edit, Free Transform, which is Command T. I'm going to take it from the sides. This is already set up to be proportional, so I don't need to press Shift right now. So I can make it bigger or smaller, and I don't have to worry about anything getting pixelated. So that's the beauty of the Smart Object, which you should already know from the previous tutorials from Adobe website. Let's rename some of these layers. Let's talk about layers. So if you click on this eyeball, it's going to hide and show, which you should also already know from the Adobe website, but you can kind of see the sizes of everything according to itself. And I kind of want to use, say I want to use this background as my size. I want to have everything to this main size. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use the crop tool, which is here, just C, and I'm going to crop in. Look at this check mark. If this is check marked, it's going to damage any layers that happened to be cut off. So if I look at my hummingbird layer, I'm going to click on it. I'm going to use the move tool here to move it, and this got snipped. I'm going to undo, which is Command Z, and I did it 2 times for 2 steps, and I want to go back to the beginning before I use the crop tool. Let's use the crop tool again. I'm going to uncheck delete cropped pixels, and now I'm going to make my image size the size of this background. Now I'm going to take this hummingbird, I'm going to click on it. Remember, if you want something to happen to a certain layer, it has to be selected. If this layer is not selected and I start using the move tool to move something around and I accidentally am on this background layer and I don't know why is this not working, at least 50% of the time when you're new to Photoshop, it's because you're not on the right layer. So make sure your layer is selected that you want to do stuff to. So I need this hummingbird to be much smaller, so I'm going to do Command T to free transform. Notice how this is like way over here and it's kind of hard for me. This is how big the image is. It's bigger than the canvas size. It's difficult for me to get in there, so I'm going to zoom out. Command minus. Zooming out when using free transform is really always, sometimes, most of the time it's necessary. You're going to have to zoom in and zoom out to really get it to be the right size that you want. Instead of zooming in and zooming out, you can also use the Navigator. Window, Navigator is right here. So I'm going to take this, and you can always take these things and you can take them and detach them and close them and move them around to customize your workspace. If there's a lot of clutter, you can close them and reopen them in Window. All the stuff on the right is always in Window. If you lose your tools, oh no, my tools are gone, what am I gonna do? This is horrible. Window, Tools, and they're here again. Alright, hummingbird. I also like to use the hand tool. Press spacebar, and if you're in F, if you press F, you can move this around. And this is helpful if you need to get a corner. Say I'm on the waterfall and I need to get in this corner. The hand tool can help you move around. The hand tool only works, spacebar, if you're in that F without the tabs. F 3 times changes the view. Alright, so we changed the size of this hummingbird. I want you all to label your layers. This is crazy. So let's say this is the background. What did I just do? So I double click on the text. If you double click over here, it gives you the layer style. So you don't want the layer style. You want to change the text. So double click where the text is there. And we're going to say humming. I want to just call this head. No, I'm just going to call this body because I'm going to use that body. I'm going to use this head. Here, I can change the order by clicking and dragging. So I need to change the size, but let's call this head, double click to change, and then press enter. I'm going to Command T to change the size. After you're done changing the size, you need to press enter to commit to your size change. If you don't press enter after free transform, it's not going to work. The Navigator, I forgot to tell you, if you go up and down, this helps you Sometimes I like to keep the Navigator open to look at my overall composition, especially if I'm coloring or using something where I need to look at the values. Alright, the head and the body. We renamed those layers, and look at the order here. You don't want these under the background, otherwise you can't see them, they're disappeared, right? So when your layer is set to normal mode up here, you can change these, we'll talk about that later. When it's set to normal mode, whatever's at the top, it shows up on top of whatever is behind it. That's why they're layers. They go on top of each other. So if you want something in the background, you need to move it to the very bottom. Another thing I like to do when I'm working is to make a new layer, which you click on this little icon that makes a new layer. And I'm going to use the Fill tool, which is hidden inside the Gradient tool. This is a paint bucket. So click on the Gradient tool, which is G, shortcut G. If you can't find it, just press G, click and hold, get the paint bucket, and I'm going to fill. What happens if I click here? And I'm on this, make sure you're on the layer that has, the new layer has nothing on it. This is filling with the color. What color does it use? It's using the foreground color box. I want to fill with white. So I can switch, I'm going to press this little icon, and now I'm filling with white. Sometimes I like to use a white background, I'm going to call this white, in order to help me see stuff, because this checkerboard thing here is really hard to look at when I'm working. So a lot of times I have just a new layer, I fill it with white, and I'm going to use it just as a clean canvas. Alright, so that's pretty much it. File, scripts, load into stack, you know how to do the smart objects and to resize them, and that's all we're going to talk about today. Make sure that you are good about naming your layers. Don't have layer number 152 because it's very confusing for you. Double click, change the name, press enter. Hide and show, arrangements, right? What's on top, what's on the bottom.